Let's work more efficient and more consistent and structured in After Effects when you set up new projects. What I want to create with you today is a little tool with automation blocks for After Effects, and I've got an example here already, new project example. So what we can do here is we can enter a new project name like Vision Pulse, for example. Let's say this is a new project we want to work on, and we run the tool, and you can see on my desktop, in this case, it created a folder of projects with Vision Pulse folder, and inside it Vision Pulse.aep, and this contains already two compositions, Vision Pulse vertical, a vertical composition, and Vision Pulse, which is in this case a default HD composition, and it also has set up some project folders for me already. And all of this with just a single click. It helps a lot to work more consistent and to show you how quickly you can set this up yourself. And the main point here is, if you set it up yourself, you can tweak it however you want. Like if you want to import extra footage that you need with every project, like certain favorite textures you have, or your logo or watermark image or whatever, then you can import those easily too. So let's see how this is looking like in automation blocks. I go here to the code of this script. Let me maximize this window here for a second. And you can see this entire script is not too big. It's really just these few blocks. And now let's start from scratch and show you step by step how you would create such a tool. So I click here on New to create a completely fresh new tool. And the first thing I want to create is our user interface, where we can enter the project name. So I go here to the category User Interface and Comments, and choose a new input. It should be a single text line where you can enter something. Maybe our default value is project XY or whatever. And here as label, I want to have project name. You can see that here in the user interface, this updates instantly. This is how easily you can create user interfaces with automation blocks for After Effects. Now we want to save this value such that we can use it later, so we bind it to a variable. So we create a new variable and name this project name. And now we've got these blocks, set project name to something. And this is what we want to do. We want to set it to the value of this input. So now whatever we enter here is saved in our variable project name, and now we can do stuff with it. So for example, we can create compositions with it. So we go to AE comp, we want to create a composition, and here you can see we've got new empty composition. So we plug this in below here, and for the new empty composition, we want to set the comp name to our project name. Yeah, so we take here the variable project name and plug it in here, and by that we always create a composition with that name. We want to keep it in the root folder, so we just keep it here. If you would place it in a particular bin of your project, you can enter this here too, the path to it. Then we want to keep it at the default HD resolution, pixel aspect, duration, frame rate. You can customize all of this here. Now we want to, in our example, create a second composition, which is should be a vertical composition. So we can just duplicate this block and plug it here below. And this one should be 180 by 1920, like this. And we don't want it to have exactly the same name, but after the name there should be vertical, for example. So if our project is project XY, then this comp should be named project XY, and this one project XY vertical. So we need to somehow combine this text with the text vertical before we plug it in here. For this we need a text block which can combine different texts, and you can either use this one or this one, which you prefer most. I find most of the time for more complex tasks this one more intuitive. So we want to so the idea of this block is you put here in some master text which can contain placeholders like $1 and $2, and the values you plug in here will be inserted here. So this text, Mr. $1 is $2 years old, will result in the final combined text, Mr. Miller is 41 years old. Okay, and we use this now here to say we want to create we want to plug in here the project name, and the final thing we want to create is $1, so project name vertical. And we don't need the second input, so we can go here and remove it to clean it up. So, and now the cool thing about this is you can put the $1 anywhere, yeah? So if you want to have something before the project name, you can write it before the $1, and if you want to put something after it, you can insert it here afterwards. So this will result in, this block represents the project name followed by space vertical. And so we can plug this in here, and now the first comp we create is just a project name. The second one has as name project name followed by vertical. Okay, next we wanted to create some bins. So we go to the project, because in the project we have all kinds of blocks to create new bins, to import entire folders of footage, import single files, and many more. So we wanted to create some bins. So what we want to create here is a bin footage, and if you enter a backslash, you can immediately also create subbins. So if we have, for example, footage video, it will create a bin footage with a subbin video. And if we duplicate this and enter here audio, it will create this bin. And don't worry about creating duplicates. This will the create bin block checks if these bins already exist, and so it doesn't create it a second time. So if you have already a footage folder, it won't create it, and here it definitely won't create a second footage folder. Yeah. So last but not least, we want to save our project already. So for this, I think we first should worry about what actually happens when we already have currently an open project. We probably don't want to add all of this to our existing project, and this is what would happen right now. Okay, what we want to do instead is we want to close the existing project and start a new one. So we go here again to After Effects App and Project, and see if we can find something here to create a new project. You can see we've got Save Project, Open Project, Close Project, New Project. This is what we want. And this has an option. If current project has unsaved changes, we can decide what to do in this case too. So this is what we want to do at the very beginning. You can actually also put this below the variable here, it doesn't matter, but definitely before creating a composition. We can put it on top of the project name because we don't need the project name while creating the new project. But here we say, if current project has unsaved changes, maybe we want to ask the user, do you want to save the changes or not, or do you want to cancel this entire script? So this is why we set this here to prompt. And now, at the very end, we want, once all this work is done, we want to save the new project we created here. Yeah? So we go to Project App Project here again, and we've got Save Project and Save Project As. With this one, if the project has no name yet, and this is the case in our current script, right? We created a new script, a new project, and didn't tell it any name yet. It will prompt the user to enter a name, but we want to decide the name automatically, so we go to Save Project As and put it here at the very bottom. By default, it will save to the desktop, to the text, to the file test.aep. This is not what we want. We want to do something with our project name. So we can actually steal this part here and say, we want to say, let's say, I copy this entire text and paste it here. At the desktop, we want to have a folder which is exactly our project name. Or maybe let's say we want to first have a folder projects. And inside of this, we want to have a folder with our project name. So I put here $1 such that this value will be inserted. And then the AEP file inside this folder should again be just the project name followed by AEP. Yeah? So if our project is project XY, it will save on the desktop in a folder projects in a subfolder project XY to project xy.aep. And I just plug this in here, and now it saves the project at this location. and it allows to overwrite files if they exist, if you want this. If not, you can uncheck this. And we also want, if this project, if this folder $1 here, or the folder with our project name, doesn't exist yet, we want it to create it, right? Usually it will not exist. If we create a new project, project XY, we won't have this project/project XY folder yet. So we also check this one to say create folder if not existing. And we can just, let me now make this smaller here again, and run this tool. And you can see we now have a new project here on our desktop in the folder projects, project XY with project XY.aep. We've got here our project XY compositions with the right aspect ratios, as you can see here, and settings, and our folder structure that we wanted to create. And if I create here now, let's say, another project and run the tool again, you can see now we've got everything set up for this new project. So this helps you tremendously if you want to create new projects and want to do it in always the same way, with always the same consistent naming, the same consistent folder structure. Let me finally show you also what you can do if you need some footage that you always want to have in your project, that you want to have imported by default into every project. Also, this is very simple. Let me maximize this window here again. So before we save, we want to also import some footage. So we go to the After Effects project again. If you want to just import a single file, you use this block here, import file, and then you have here the file you want to import. If you want to import an entire folder, you can use this one here instead. So let's use this example and go here. And let's say we want to import, let's click here on this icon to get a file picker. And in my documents folder, I have, for example, from my other tools, Squash and Stretch, the Squash and Stretch bundles, and those contain some sound effects. And let's say I want to import those sounds, which are in this folder here, by default in every project. So I select this folder and click Open. And it inserted the entire path now here in this block. And now I say I want to put this in a particular folder. Namely, let me just double click here and choose the folder where I want to import it. I want to import it here into this audio folder. Yeah. So I select this. Let me make some space here. Here was our block. Into this folder it should be imported. So I click here on this refresh icon and it inserts the text footage audio here. So this is the path to this bin. You could also enter this manually or create it with these kinds of blocks or whatever, but an easy way to insert a project bin path is to just select it and then click here this refresh icon. Now you can decide, yes, we want to include the subfolders in the import. I don't really care about importing multi-layer files because I just import audio in this case, but you have the option here also if you want to import still images individually or as image sequences. And if this folder already contains other items, you can choose here to delete them or to keep them. But I want to keep them here for now. And we can now just pick another project name here again. Let's call this third project and run the tool. And you can see we've got a new project, third project vertical and third project are our created compositions. We've got here the footage and inside of it we've got now the audio with all my sound effects that I wanted to import it, that I wanted to have imported right here. So this is really how easy it is to create a new project setup script with automation blocks. And the real power here is that you can customize everything. That if you've got specific needs, specific naming conventions, specific folders, specific files you always need, whatever, you can tweak everything exactly how you want. You can also actually start inserting stuff into compositions already in more advanced topics that I haven't shown here yet. So You can do anything you need to do at startup. It's very flexible and can be customized. If you want to learn more about automation blocks for After Effects, you find it at aescripts.com. I'm Matthias from mamoworld.com, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next tutorial.